my administration would be Donald Trump's worst nightmare.
I think he's frankly, I've heard he's a total nut job.
And it's where the mayor will use their power to reject Donald Trump's fascism.
He's a communist. He's not a socialist, by the way. There's a big difference. He's a communist. He's down and dirty. He's a communist.
There is no borough that will be free from Trump's cruelty.
Now it looks like we're going to have a communist mayor in New York. That'll be a lot of fun.
So 2 guys from Queens walk into the Oval Office. What happens next? In 3 hours, President Trump will be face-to-face with the socialist mayor-elect of this city, New York City, Zohran Mamdani. The 2 men have been trading some barbs, as you can see from a distance, but now they're going to meet face-to-face to hash out the future of America's biggest city. Welcome to the Big Money Show, everybody. I'm Jackie DeAngelis, along with my co-hosts Taylor Riggs, Dagan McDowell, and Brian Bremberg. With us for the entire hour, Fox News contributor Jason Chaffetz. Welcome. The president has a major power advantage here. He's threatening to cut the billions of dollars of funding New York City gets from the federal government. Cash Mamdani will definitely need, especially if he wants to fund his socialist experiments. And the mayor-elect ran on sticking it to Trump. This meeting, of course, will be anything but that, or potentially even test it. The White House says the sit-down is a perfect example of the president's leadership style.
It speaks volumes that tomorrow we have a communist coming to the White House, because that's who the Democrat Party elected as the mayor of the largest city in the country. I think it's very telling, but I also think it speaks to the fact that President Trump is willing to meet with anyone and talk to anyone and to try to do what's right on behalf of the American people.
And there you have it. There was one point in history where President Trump called the mayor-elect his little communist. Jason, what are you expecting? My thoughts are that this will actually be a pretty civil meeting, but I'm curious what you think.
I think so. I think it'll be fairly magnanimous. I think they'll be very professional. I think Mamdani, whether he admits it out loud or not, he's going to be very nervous. But I think President Trump, he loves it. These types of moments, I think he loves. The points of contention, though, are about safety and security, ICE, and their ability to do federal law enforcement activities. And the second is going to be about the budget. And if you don't think that the president's going to hold the line and hold those billions of dollars out there to say, hey, our folks have to be able to do their job without interference. Donald Trump has a mandate. Mamdani thinks he has a mandate, but feds trump locals, and that's just the way it is. And I think the men and women in blue, they back President Trump a lot more than they do the communist who's coming into office.
And I've been saying that he's going to walk this fine line, kind of a tightrope. He's got to cater to the progressives who put him in office, but he also needs to make sure that he doesn't get Trump on his bad side, because he needs that money. He posted this selfie with that grin.
The plane selfie?
Yes.
Or this? Okay, this.
On the plane,
yes,
as he was going to, thank you, as he was going to Washington. I'm glad everyone can have that visual, because I cannot unsee it. But he's going to be asking the president about, how he's going to approach New York City. And I think the president is going to say to him, you toe the line, your federal funding stays. You start getting crazy, and it's going to be a different story. And as we know, you don't test this president, because when he says it, he does it.
I agree with all that, but do you think Mamdani's not going to test him? Like, I feel like all the left-wing people who got Mamdani to this point want him to walk in there and stick his thumb in the president's eye. Don't you think that? I think that's what they want from him. And so I don't know how he's going to do it. Is he going to come right out and start saying something? I don't know what he's going to say, but he's so smug. And he's so annoying. And he's got that demeanor that I think is just going to get under the president's nerves. And then he's going to make some grandiose statement. I don't know, maybe it's going to be about ICE, or maybe it's going to be about something. And I just wonder if President Trump is going to say, you know what, it's time to lay down the law. And if he does that, then I think it becomes a very interesting meeting. But so maybe you're right, Jason. Maybe it's all very pleasant and nice, but I just don't see Mamdani walking in there and doing that, given who he is, given who backs him, and given what they expect from him.
But would you do that if when you walk in and you do that to the president, you're going to get smacked down?
You know what? He's arrogant enough to think that if the president tries to smack him down, he'll somehow get the upper hand. That's what could make this interesting.
Okay. Dagan, your thoughts on how this goes today?
Law and order, as I've said, is the key. Just making sure that crime is fought and that the citizens and residents in New York City are protected, because ultimately that's what keeps the revenue coming into the city, and it keeps the revenue base locked within the 5 bureaus, figuratively, not literally. And Mamdani knows that, given the fact that he has reappointed Jesse Tisch as the head of the NYPD. And Jesse Tisch has pushed back on the Trump administration. She met with Pam Bondi, I think it was a few months ago, and has kind of given the strong arm to the National Guard potentially coming into New York City. She's like, the NYPD, we have it under control. And in fact, if Jesse Tisch and the NYPD are allowed to do their job, everything is going in the right direction. This year, that if you look at major crimes, they're all down, totally combined. Murder, robbery, felony assault, burglary, grand larceny, auto, they're down 3%. The only group of crimes that's up is rape. But then if you look at just the broad group, a bigger broad grouping of crimes like retail theft is down double digits, shooting victims, shooting incidents, hate crimes, all down double digits. That is the most critical thing. Mamdani will go in. He has the smile working to his advantage. You know, you smile through pain, you smile through discomfort, you smile when you have nothing to say. He's going to do that, and he'll probably come out of the meeting and then say some stuff about President Trump. But the funniest thing is the jackasses on the left are unhappy about this meeting. The same people who were totally cool with Zohran Mamdani meeting with an unindicted co-conspirator in the first World Trade Center bombing are upset about him meeting with the President of the United States. That's the world in which we live.
On the crime front, I think Jessica Tisch has done a great job. And I think in her memo, if you read the whole thing to the NYPD telling them what's happening, that she's staying on, and that she was going to fight for them, was a really strong message, because things have been going well here. And it sounded like, you know, she said, I don't agree with him many times, but I will do what I need to do the job right. I'm paraphrasing, but that really resonated with me. Taylor, I saved this one for you because I saw this headline this morning. We talked about Mamdani getting the agenda that he wants pushed across the finish line. One of those things was free buses. And one day you brought up the fact that Hochul pushed back and said no free buses. But she seems to be walking that back a little bit now. And so we've got this place where, like, I just feel like we're in wishy-washy zone.
Bingo. I love that you came to me on this, because I've sort of been going down this strategy. Lane A, nothing bad happens, and people think, oh, this guy's okay because businesses aren't fleeing, crime isn't going up, buses don't have homeless people, maybe this guy isn't. So socialism for everyone. Or lane B, all of these policies get enacted, the city eventually blows up, and people come to their senses and say, okay, socialism isn't for me. My worry is what you just pointed out, that like icky middle place where it isn't a very crystal clear line one way or the other. And then people start to think it's acceptable because he's not getting things done. Businesses don't flee because, you know, maybe the corporate tax rate doesn't go up, right? Maybe he can't get that done. So I'm sort of a little bit worried about that middle wishy-washy place. Part of me, I love this city, right? We've all been here. I've been here 20 years. We've all been here about that time. Don't want to see it burn, but does it need to sort of blow up in our face for people to really wake up and understand socialism isn't for me? That's the big question. I will just make one little joke. My favorite marathoner, Eliud Kipchoge, you could always tell when he was in pain at mile 20 because he would smile. So when you say smile, you always smile when you're in pain, when you're running, because it's the relaxation technique and it's a mental strategy.
The problem with Mamdani is the expectations and the promises, and everything's going to be free, and you're not going to have to work, and it's going to be government-run grocery stores, and you get on the bus for free, and by the way, we're going to pay for your child care, and oh, we hate billionaires, so we're going to tax them more, and they're going to leave. That doesn't add up. He was asked a very simple question from a local reporter, not a hardball, about how are you going to pay for the $600 or $700 million for buses. And he's like, well, it's most important that we fund it. He had zero answers on how to actually do it.
Oh, he's a politician and he can't answer a straight question. His entire campaign was boilerplate that he stole from President Trump first go round. He just filled in the blanks with different ideas that were left rather than conservative and MAGA. For example, how many people mocked President Trump for Build the Wall? Everybody said that that was crazy, on who was like middle of the road Democrat. He didn't finish it. So what? He's still strong on immigration. That's the point.